Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for Teen Wolf Season 4, Episode 4, The Benefactor, and holy shit, this episode was huge. So much shit went down this episode, and Jeff Davis, what the hell are you talking about? Because Jeff Davis literally said this season would not be that dark, and this episode was actually very dark and actually creepy at some point, so I don't know what Jeff Davis is talking about, but this episode was awesome. That's what I know. I know this episode was awesome, and I can't wait for the next episode, because this episode was awesome, and I just thought it was a fantastic episode, so definitely I'm looking forward to the next episode because of it. I thought it was fantastic. So let's just start off, let's just get to this episode. Basically, the show opens with a crime scene on the top of the hospital, and Derek arrives to help out Sheriff Stilinski. And Derek says that he hasn't heard of any Wendigos in Beacon Hill for a while, because as you know, Sean was a Wendigo, and they must have been well hidden. And Derek says that there must have been another person on the roof, in addition to Scott the Wendigo and the No-Mouth Axe Murderer. Who, as it appears, is a Wendigo hunter, because, he went after Sean, so he's a Wendigo hunter. Now, Derek is, of course, smelling Liam, the new lacrosse player, bitten by Scott, and then, basically, we see Scott and Styles talking about Liam, and it turns out that Scott has Liam tied up in his bathtub. That was kind of funny to watch. They bring him out into Scott's bedroom, because they don't know what's going to happen to him. They set him on a chair, and they try to tell him basically what's going on, that Scott bit him and everything. And he puts on an act and starts crying. They untie him. He then makes a runs out of the house, and that was crazy. That was extremely insane. So, Peter is then attacked by the No-Mouth Axe Murderer, and an axe is hurled into his chest, and I thought Peter was going to die for a second there, but I'm like, Peter can't die. Why would that happen? So yeah, that was extremely intense. I did not expect that to happen, but that was really, really big. So Liam runs to school and is visibly going through the change. Scott tries to tell him about this change, but he's struggling with finding the correct words. And basically, Liam tells Scott and Styles that nothing is happening to him, and he rips off his bandage, the one covering up the bite mark, and reveals his skin, and there's no injury. So everyone's preparing to go to Lydia's lake house to prepare for the full moon, and the gang comes up with a plan to invite Liam to a party, so they can hide him during his change, so nothing bad will happen to him. Now, the gang decides to trick Kira, Kira will be used to trick Liam into coming to the party, basically. That's what they decide to do. Because they really want to invite Liam just because they want to trick him into basically going. And I thought that was a good plan. Now, Derek helps Peter after he was attacked, and the blade was laced with wolfsbane, so Derek has it burn it out of his system, and Peter reveals that the murderer was after him. So Kira's driving up to the lake house with Liam, and at the lake house, Styles informs Scott about why Liam was kicked out of his last school, because he has intense anger issues. Now, that's obviously not good. So, in the car, and then we get to see those anger issues, basically. Liam gets a glimpse of the full moon and begins to grow angrier because, the full moon's coming, so that's obviously not a good thing. Now, Liam arrives at the lake house, and Scott and everyone tell Liam about the supernatural, but just as Liam's about to change, the entire school shows up at the lake house for their party, and Liam texts his friend on the way over, because he thought it was an actual party, and at the police station, Deputy Parrish reveals that the tomahawk used by the No-Mouth Man is actually used in the military. He also reveals that he knows the computer device is being used to communicate. He sort of hacks into the system, which was recovered by Peter after he fought for his life, and he finds a dialogue. They discover that this guy isn't just a murderer, he's an assassin, and he's killing for money. Now, that is huge, because I knew that whoever took their money had to be the guy that was the axe murderer. So yeah, the axe murderer took their money, because they're still trying to find that money that Peter needs. So Liam is then taken to a boathouse away from the main house. He's changing, and he's very strong. They chain him down, but he's breaking through. He fights Scott, pins him down, and Kira whacks him in the head with an oar. That was really intense, because Scott and Kira were about to kiss and everything, because Scott and Kira, I guess, are together now, and they're about to have their moment, but Liam had to ruin it for them, so, sorry. Sorry to them, but basically, back in the house, someone is ordering a keg of beer, and Lydia notices someone going upstairs and follows him, telling the keg delivery man that she's going out to get some money, and we see the keg delivery man go out to his car, and his tires have been slashed, and he begins turning into a werewolf, But just as he manages to subdue his change, a young high schooler who goes by the name of Violet, from Beacon Hills, comes up behind and decapitates him with a weird necklace she wears around her neck. So yeah, we have another new character named Violet. She goes into the party and kisses, the guy, Garrett, you know, that lacrosse player. And he says, I just got a text from my friend. The text reads, the Benefactor just transferred the money into an account, and it seems as if the no-mouth man who received a similar image on his computer, which was hacked by Parrish, is working with Garrett and Violet. So that's obviously not a good thing. Or at least he belongs to the same organization. So it's run by this mysterious individual who goes by the name of the Benefactor, who we still have not met yet. We don't know who the Benefactor is, which is very interesting because this episode's called The Benefactor, and we don't know who the Benefactor is. So yeah, that was definitely very big. So, then what ends up happening is, basically, Lydia follows Mason into a white-carpeted room. She has this weird interaction, spills 2 glasses of wine, but we see the 2 characters' mouths move. We don't hear any sound. Garrett walks out of the room and into a dark closet, and Lydia walks over to a turntable. She puts on the record, hears strange sounds, the room goes dark, and this scene was actually really creepy. In the wall, in the front of her, faces appear, and that scene was actually very, very creepy, honestly, it was. So, I mean, wow, that was really creepy. So Kira and Scott talk about music and how they can hear it from the house, and Kira says that she misses songs that people can slow dance to. So Scott puts on a slow song, they dance in the moonlight, and Kira asks Scott how he's so good in controlling his wolf, and he says it's all about keeping his pulse low and not getting his heart rate up, because he's the alpha, so he can control it better. You know, he's the only one that can, you know, control better. You know, so definitely it's very, very interesting that happens, because, you know, he's the alpha, so. Then, as they're getting all comfortable and everything, Liam then starts to grow, he breaks free of his chains, darts into the woods, and this is where the episode gets really intense. Now, Derek and Sheriff Stilinski head to the school because that's where the mysterious man's Wi-Fi connection was supposedly coming from. They see blood pooled in the hallway. Derek says that's strange because he would have picked up on the scent of blood prior to walking in. They open the door carefully, but not all the way. They then see a wire attached to an explosive. A tomahawk is hurled through the air. Derek saves the sheriff. They run away from the no-mouth man. And basically, Liam runs through the woods, and Scott chases after him. Liam is about to hurt Scott really bad when someone shoots an explosive in the air. Strobe lights. And this startles Liam, and he runs away. And basically, we find out that, remember how Scott texted Chris Argent in the last episode? Chris Argent actually saves Scott. He says, I got your text, and that was huge right there. I mean, that was awesome. I'm like, yes, Chris Argent is back. I'm glad that we're still going to see Chris helping out Scott. I definitely do like that. So the fight continues in Beacon Hills High School, and Derek fights the no-mouth man. Soon, Derek has him contained. Sheriff Stilinski says he has the right to remain silent, but Peter walks in and totally kills the no-mouth man, so Peter did not die. Here then goes into the house to find Lydia, and, you know, basically, by the way, Scott tells, Liam the truth. He tells Liam, you know, the truth that he tells him the truth that he is a werewolf. He told him that, he says, you might be a werewolf. He doesn't actually know what Liam is, because he could be a werewolf, he could be a wendigo, he could be a variety of things. So, you know, Liam's trying to figure out who he is and everything, and basically Scott tries to tell him, and I'm glad that Scott did tell him what's going on, because Liam was freaking out about it. And then we get probably the biggest twist of the entire episode, and the biggest twist of the season, in my opinion. Kira goes into the house to find Lydia, and Lydia's just staring at the wall, and it's a lot like the second episode when she was just staring into that space with that dead man, and she says she's figured out how to crack the code she wrote out, and she fires up her laptop, and she inputs the word, and the password is Allison, and the code reveals a hit list of supernaturals living in Beacon Hills, and everyone's on the list. So that means that this no-mouth man is after all of them. That's what this means. It means that the axe murderer is after all of them. They're all going to be hurt in some way. Something bad is going to happen to all of them. And that makes the show even more awesome than it already is. And I love the ending to the episode. I thought it was a fantastic ending. And I really, really loved it. Now, let's talk about Styles and Malia. They were the subplot of this episode. Styles and Malia, in the beginning, they were very funny, but then turned out to be very intense. Basically, Styles is preparing, he's working to secure Malia, who continues to struggle with the change, and his dad walks in, he's like, I don't want to know, because it looks like he's, like, tying her up or whatever, like, for sex or whatever, and, he's like, I don't want to know what's going on. He's like, Dad, it's not what you think. So, yeah, he's tying her to change to make sure that she's going to be okay, because if you remember, Malia's still dealing with, changing into a, what do you call it, were-coyote, that she's changing into, so, basically what ends up happening is, at the full moon, Malia begins to change into this were-coyote, and Styles tries to help her out, and what I really love was he's like, I'm not gonna leave you, I'm not gonna leave you, I'm gonna be here for you. And I love that scene because it really just shows how much Styles cares for, Malia, really. It shows how much he cares for Malia. Oh, also, I forgot to say, the reason this episode was so crazy is because it was a party episode. And we know whenever a party happens in Beacon Hills, something huge is revealed and shit goes down. So, I forgot to say that. But, Malia's dealing with being changed into a, were-coyote, and Styles is there for her the whole time, and I was very happy he was there for her. Basically, Malia breaks free from her chains, and Styles helps Malia get her beast under control, and luckily, he helps her get under control, and she turns back into, her human self, so we can see that she is still struggling with trying to be a were-coyote, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there, but I'm happy that Styles was able to help her, and it really shows Styles' love for Malia. He didn't leave her, he wasn't scared, he told her, I'm not leaving you, and I'm gonna help you get through this, and that was a very good scene to watch. I really enjoyed watching that, definitely. I was like, Styles is such a good boyfriend to Malia. He really is a great boyfriend to her. Definitely very good. So, that was the episode, and overall, I thought this was the best episode of the season. I absolutely loved it, and there are a few things I do want to talk about, though. Let's talk about this new no-mouth mask creature. No-mouth axe murderer, basically. He is coming after everyone in Beacon Hills now, so everyone's gotta, be very careful what happens to them. I'm pretty sure here's what's gonna happen. He is gonna try to kill every single one of them, and it's not gonna work, and I feel like someone major is gonna die this season, because if they're on his hit list, someone on that list is gonna die. Liam, I'm pretty sure he's gonna die. I just feel like Liam is gonna die. I don't feel like he's gonna last, more than a season. I feel like he's gonna die. Liam's gotta get under control of his anger, because, if he really wants to be this werewolf and everything, if he really wants to be that werewolf and wants to be in this position of being a werewolf, then he has to get his anger under control, and, I don't know how he's going to, but he needs to get his anger under control fast, or else something bad's gonna happen to him, so Liam really needs to get his anger under control. As far as Malia goes, Malia needs to get her were-coyote under control. I thought it was awesome that we saw the full moon this episode as well. That was really cool to watch. Definitely very cool. The good thing is Scott now has Chris Argent, so Chris Argent maybe could help out Liam a little bit. He'll give Scott, he'll give Scott some assistance. I'm glad that Scott and Chris Argent have that bond, really. Even though Chris is probably crushed by the fact that Allison died still, he's kind of gotten over it, and he's there for Scott, which I'm very happy about, because it's great to see that. What's gonna happen with, as far as the other people on the hit list, I feel like Lydia's gonna be the first one to go. He's after Lydia the most, because Lydia just randomly keeps appearing in those dead people's, tracks, basically. And it makes sense now because she's on his hit list, and she's there because he wants to kill her. That's why she's there. It's basically like a you're next sort of thing. That's what it kind of is. It's kind of like him saying, you're next. So that definitely is going to be very interesting to see where that storyline goes. As far as, what else can I talk about? As far as Peter and Derek go, I don't know what's gonna happen with them, but they gotta get them. Peter's gotta get his money back. So obviously, the axe murderer took his money. He has to get that money back from him. So we'll have to see what happens there. But overall, this was a very good episode. I really enjoyed it. I love this episode. Very, very intense episode. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. That's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for another classic movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.